Welcome, weary traveler. You have stumbled across a comedy chronicle of cranial concoctions, a frenzied fusion of befuddled fables, an exacting expose on eclectic mythos. Should you brave ahead, you will find yourself enlightened, delighted, and only slightly misinformed on the many fantastical worlds that exist within our favorite media. Will you learn all there is to know? That I cannot say. But I can say it will be the lore you know.
I don't even know what we're talking about today. So let's talk about
Circumcisions, apparently. Judaism.
we can't talk
so
about
much.
we can't talk about well, we did talk about the Christian God last time. Tim Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lizzie and I saw Tim Allen was performing live. And I was like, Lizzie, would you please come see Tim Allen perform live with me? And she was
No.
like, there is no way I'm going to see Tim Allen perform live with you. And I was like,
No.
beans.
I'm imagining like what his bits would be. It's just like, I saw a young woman who thought she was a cat, and I said,
Yeah, that's
No,
probably
it's something about seeing children using litter boxes or whatever.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
it's stuff like that. You know, I don't think we should. That's why I don't think famous people should be beloved children's characters' voices, because they're like real people, and the more famous you are in Hollywood, the bigger of a tool man you are. And I don't want to. Every time I look at Buzz Lightman as a toy in the toy aisle, I don't like to imagine him being inhabited by the consciousness of Tim Allen.
How do you feel about Vin Diesel being Groot?
I like that because I'll never meet a Groot in the real. I don't look at a tree and I go, oh, it's like a Vin Diesel. Like, I don't think that. So that's fine. But like,
Yeah, I mean, I understand he says some really racist stuff, but I can't speak Groot, so I'm okay with it.
does Vin Diesel say really racist stuff?
No, Groot does.
Oh, I see. Well,
Oh.
yeah. I mean, again, that's all part of your headcanon, Ethan.
No.
You are constantly running around imagining people saying like racist things to you, even though they're just like, hey, how are you this morning? And you're like, what the fuck did you just say to me?
So I
I don't
Uh,
know. It was Tim Allen all along. That is okay. That's a joke, but that's legitimately how he sees himself. He's like, "What did I do? I was just talking. Why are people mad at me? I'm just talking." So fucking stupid.
Anyways, welcome to The Lore You Know, a podcast where some friends dive into the fantastical and often convoluted lore of media that we grew up with and love. And here to bring you the mostly correct facts about made-up things this week are me, Fran.
me, Ethan.
And I am CJ, and I'm back. I think I was Crimbo Jimbo or something last time. I was possessed by the Holy Spirit to be a Christmas boy.
No, you weren't. You just were gone for a good part.
Well,
of the
I
recording.
think I changed my name in the opening of the last one to like Criminy Jiminy or something like that. But now I'm just
Okay.
regular CJ again. I have no more Christmas spirit left. It's like a limit break bar, and then I do it once, and then I don't give a fuck about Christmas. In fact, I can't wait for Easter. I only like those two holidays.
It's because they're very candy heavy, or
No,
Treat
because
heavy?
of the Judeo-Christian God, Fran. God, we've
Oh.
been over this. Do you not know? Do you not know what a
Every-
do you not know what a creaster is? That's what Catholics they don't like creasters. They're people who come to church only 2 times a year for Christmas and Easter, and they're like,
Oh, that's like an actual term.
They're like only 2
Yes.
times a year. You're supposed to come every time of the year,
Yes.
and it's
You have to come for all 3 major Christian holidays.
If you come
Christmas, Easter, and 4th of July.
What if they come for Ash Wednesday also? Does that count as Creaster? Because is Ash Wednesday's associated with Easter?
Ash Wednesday's just part of Easter. You
Yeah,
gotta
okay.
go. You gotta go in there and get that dirty dirt boy on your face, and it smells like old people and
Is there a
detritus.
Palm Day?
Fran,
People come with fronds to school.
obviously
before.
there's Palm Friday. Listen,
Friday.
we
There's a
can't
Palm Day.
we
Okay.
can't go through all of the things that happened when Jesus came back. Like all the people were like, Jesus, we love you. We're gonna put palm fronds down in front of your donkey so that you can step on that instead of the dirt.
What?
That's where it comes from, Fran. Don't you understand?
No.
Everything the Catholics do is because of Jesus.
Well,
Jesus.
yes, they got
It's
that.
all Jesus, Fran.
Jesus went out into the desert.
Hence the Easter Bunny.
Jesus got really ripped because he was on a paleo diet out in the desert, and he got so fucking cut. And everyone was like, Jesus, how did you? They're like, Jesus Christ, how did you do that? And he was like,
So did he make friends with a bun bun or something? And now we
No,
have an Easter Bunny.
no,
or
he was
that something
tempted. He was
different?
tempted by Satan. Fran, keep up.
Was the Satan dressed as a bunny?
He might have been. I don't know. I wasn't there.
Like a
It's
Playboy
very
bunny in that case,
have,
maybe.
Have you seen like the old school like Easter bunnies? Like it looks like Satan, where they did not figure out how to do like character.
Everything made for children characters
All right.
looked horrifying in the early 1900s.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
too scary.
Everything.
Too scary.
We have to be done with this. I'm
learning
I
so
don't-
much.
I don't want to talk about this religion that has this sort of like positive and sunshiny exterior, but then as you get deeper into it, it's really dark and evil.
I know you're trying to tie it in, but Christianity is mostly the opposite. But yeah.
No, I think it was a good tie-in. Thanks, bud. Instead, we're gonna talk about a little puffball
Oh.
named Kirby.
Oh,
Oh, he's so cute.
that's where he got his name. It's from Christ. It's Christ.
Cryby.
Cryby, because the ancient people would call Jesus Kirbo. That's not true. That was a lie, Fran. I just
Yeah, that one
sorry.
I understood. That one I
Okay.
got. That one.
Just
Listen,
check.
I'm
yeah.
sorry, Lore You Know fans. That was not
That
real
one. I
lore.
know every single thing we've said up to this point has been accurate, but that one goes too far.
That
That's
was a
where
goof.
it turns into mostly correct. That
No,
specific
Kirby
piece.
was named after a lawyer, Fran.
I think I knew that. Which it's was it a celebrity
Which lawyer?
Yes.
Kirby.
Well, yeah, but like
I'm gonna give you, Fran, the first story of Kirby.
the
And
first story of Kirby.
The
The
Old
first story of
Testament of
Kirby.
Kirby.
Now, is this first
Kirby-
chronologically or first like release?
Kirby in Dreamland. It's all chronological now, Fran.
Okay, all right.
So,
Kirby's
Kirby.
a cute pink ball.
Kirby was a little puffball
Mm.
who lived in Dreamland.
Mhm.
One day, mean old King DDD stole all the food from the Dreamlanders so he could have it for himself.
That's kind of
He al-
jerk.
He is. He also stole their sparkling stars, which give Dreamlanders the magic to play among the heavens. Everyone was growing hungry until a brave boy named Kirby showed up
Mhm.
and said, "I'll get your food and sparkling stars back."
Pretty sure he said Poyo, but whatever.
According to the manual, he said, "I'll get your food and sparkling stars back." He cried it out.
Oh my god. All right.
And then he went and did that, flying all the way to Mount DDD and reclaiming the stars and the food for all the Dreamlanders. The end.
So I know Kirby like sucks things up. Is he able to like eat all of those things because he was starving because someone stole all their food?
I don't know.
No.
Oh, okay. He just does that.
Kirby
That's
are the people of Dreamland a bunch of Kirbys, or are they
No.
others? Okay, so Kirby is an entity unto himself.
Kirby
I
is
just
his
I
own species.
just told you guys all of the lore that there is for Kirby.
Okay,
The end.
that was pretty
We're
good.
done.
Yeah, wrap it up.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. What
That's
are we
a
at?
good episode.
3 minutes? Nice.
I mean, I guess there's a little more, but I can't imagine that you guys really want to know anything beyond that.
I mean,
I need to know every way that Kirby's connected to the Judeo-Christian God.
we're gonna be here a while then.
You want to know about Kirby and godhood?
Forgive her, Ethan. She knows not what
No,
she asks.
No,
I don't actually. Is this an actual question that that's valid?
Oh.
We're in it now, and the blame is on you, Fran.
You've opened the
Hmm.
Kerbora box.
Okay, so I want to note here that many things in the Kirby universe sound like they should be metaphors, but they just kind of are what they are.
Mm.
So, like,
Okay.
for example, when I tell you, Fran, that Kirby lives in Dreamland, what does that make you think?
He lives in clouds.
He does not live in clouds. You are
Oh.
wrong.
No.
Okay.
Kirby lives in the
silly.
Gamble Galaxy on Planet Popstar
Yep.
in the Kingdom of Dreamland.
Planet Popstar, Fran, is a big star. It's a star-shaped planet, which seems unlikely. What's even more unlikely is that the planet has a ring like Saturn, and I could get into all the reasons why that wouldn't work for that shape of a planet, but that's where Kirby lives.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then Dreamland is
he-
just a city on that planet.
It's a kingdom on Planet Popstar, which just so happens to be a place that looks like a make-believe land, but is in fact just that's part of our universe.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, so you could go there. Had you the technology, the interstellar technology, you could visit Kirby. That
All
is actually what Mormons believe. So there, if you want to tie in for religion, Kirby planet probably canon in the Mormon religion.
Mhm.
Don't they?
And
Isn't it when Mormons die they get a planet?
We cannot talk about Mormons, Fran. We have so many other things to talk about
We're
besides
not allowed
Mormons.
to talk about Mormons.
Fine.
Okay, and so a lot of creatures in Dreamland fit that sort of like dreamy, childlike aesthetic, but there's also a lot of things that are like weirdly devoid of cutesy elements.
Okay.
So Kirby has this rival named Meta Knight,
Yes.
and he has a space dreadnought named the Battleship Halberd
Mhm,
that
mhm.
looks straight out of Final Fantasy VII.
Mhm,
Epic, dude.
mhm.
Yeah, so you've got like cute little bunny creatures, and you've got Space Dreadnought Battleship Halberd.
Awesome. Love the
Met-
juxtaposition.
I mean, Meta Knight is also just like he's a little Kirby, but he's got a little
like, armor.
stormtrooper mask.
He's
And
not
blades.
for sure a Kirby.
He might not
CJ.
be a Kirby, but he's got a sword that if you impaled a person with it would hurt the maximum amount a sword would hurt if you were impaled with it.
He's also
It has
spherical.
a lot of spikes on it.
He's round.
Not
He's
a-
a round little boy. I'd give him a hug. He'd probably stab me, but I'd pinch his little cheeks and I'd say, "Oh, you little boy."
So are you
So-
telling me not all spherical creatures are the same creature?
No, not
I mean,
necessarily.
we'll get into what makes a Kirby in just a second.
Was this a
but
MatPat video? We're gonna talk about what Kirby is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Matt, you know what?
It's-
Fuck you, MatPat. You can't make all the. You can't do all the videos
You can't
about
make
what
all
Kirby
the,
is.
the theories.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
we're coming for you. We're not. But hey, if you
No.
want to hang out, MatPat, I hear he's a cool guy.
We are going to be talking a little bit like fan theory stuff in this one, just because there is so much like background lore that comes together in Kirby, but the foreground stuff is it's like not a lot of meat on the
It's a
bones.
fucking. It's a side.
Kirby-
It's a side scroller game where you can float infinitely.
For-
It's a platformer for
children.
babies. You know, platformers. The thing where jumping is like the core mechanic. This game was like that doesn't matter either. You can do whatever you want, and then it's like okay, then what's the difficulty? And they're like, there is none. This is
true.
for babies.
Kirby has big Pokemon energy, where on the surface you look at it and say, "Oh, that's so cute," but then you read like the in-game lore description and it's a creature that eats the souls of lost children.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we have our characters. We have Kirby. What is a Kirby? He is Kirby.
He's
We call his species Kirby, but that's because we don't know what it is.
and
Are there more of him?
wait, you didn't do that. You didn't do the intro thing where the intro to the game says draw a circle and then give it a fun happy face and then
And it's
give it
Jigglypuff
little,
from above?
get it little shoes and that is Kirby and now he's
And
your
that's
friend.
his Kirby. So
there's
You
more
pro-
than one Kirby?
Yeah.
So you've probably seen many different Kirbys, but canonically there are only 3 Kirbys.
Okay.
There is Kirby,
Uh-huh.
there is Mirror Kirby,
Mhm.
which is his mirror world reflection, so that hardly counts as a second Kirby. And then there is Kirby, which is the player 2 Kirby from the Kirby golf game,
Yes.
who they gave a name and separate identity, so he does canonically count as a Kirby being.
You buffoons.
I'm happy to hear that the Kirby golf game is part of the canon lore.
It has to be Kirby. So I
Mhm.
mean, like with Mario and Bowser and stuff, it doesn't make a lot of sense why they're like hanging around doing like go-karting and stuff together or like playing tennis together. But with Kirby, it's just like he's probably just doing this stuff anyway. He's probably playing golf. He's probably,
Yeah.
just like hanging around. That's just kind of what Kirby's do.
So there you will see a lot of other Kirbys if you play the games, but
Okay.
all other Kirbys are confirmed clones of Kirbys.
Who
He-
cloned the Kirby?
Kirby
did.
did through
He
mitosis.
cloned himself?
Yeah.
He can split into multiples of himself at will.
Does he get smaller?
No.
No.
He
Oh.
maintains the same mass of each new Kirby is an exact carbon copy of the first Kirby.
Oh.
Sometimes they change color.
Sometimes
Yeah.
they also change color. And that's how you
Interesting.
can get like 4 Kirbys.
In Smash?
Well, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Fran, and Kirby is like the Doctor Strange of the Smash universe. He's like the linchpin that pulls them all together. Because the
CJ,
studio
did you
studio
think
that
we weren't gonna get into Smash?
The
We're
s-
gonna get into Smash, so
this-
hold up
all
on
right,
that.
All right, I
I'm
will.
excited.
But we're about to bust open the Kirby cinematic universe over here.
So Kirby has the power to split into multiples of himself at will, and he doesn't do it for like long periods of time most of the time, but there does not seem to be any limitation on this.
And I
He
think
seems to pretty much be able to do it as much as he wants.
it doesn't seem like the Prestige, because the like original Kirby seems to know who he is, and then the other Kirbys are just like okay with not existing anymore after a while. So I guess he makes like I want to die clones or something, but like or maybe Kirby dies every time he does it, and he creates new
I mean-
Kirbys, and then those Kirbys they're all just super fine with it.
I think it's more of a thing of like if a 2-year-old could create clones of themselves,
Mm.
they wouldn't really have the mind space for an existential crisis. They would more so just be, that's fun.
That's a really terrifying thought. I don't want to think about a 2-year-old who can just clone themselves. That's very scary.
That's the exact kind of thing that we're getting into here, CJ.
That's true.
Sounds
But-
lovely.
Okay, so he can clone himself at will.
Great.
He can fly, as CJ said, by puffing himself up like
Mhm.
a hot air balloon.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's like his big weird power. So Kirby can befriend almost any creature by hitting them with a friendship heart,
Mm-hmm.
and
Aw.
they just immediately become his friend.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of nice.
Or he can devour those creatures whole to absorb their essence.
I did
Yeah.
know about that one.
Mhm.
And that's really
Mhm.
important, Fran, because that is kind of in a much smaller scale way the interactions we have with people every day. Do we want to throw friendship heart, or do we want to annihilate
Devour them
them
whole.
to the atomic level and take their strength? At least that's
It's-
my experience of interacting with
Mm.
people. I don't know if you guys feel the same way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's
Yeah,
usually the
I mean,
second
it-
one.
It does bother me that like, if he could do either one of those things, that would be okay. But the fact that he can do both and makes that choice with every being he sees, it bothers me a little bit.
He has his third choice of do nothing.
He could do nothing, Ethan, but he almost never does.
I mean, he sleep a lot,
He
but
does.
when that beast awakens,
There would be a person who just watches Kirby's house. Kirby has a little round house, by the way. Who just like watches Kirby's house and waits for him to emerge, and then when he does, it just runs and warns everybody. It's been like generations of people waiting for the Kirby to reawaken.
But Kirby got all their food back and stuff because
Kirby
they were
did get all
starving.
of their food back. But did he do it for them, Fran? That's what we're gonna find out today.
It says I'll get your food and sparkling stars.
He
back.
said,
Says
I
the
will
manual.
get your food. He didn't say, I'll get your food to give it back to you.
Mm.
No,
Now
it's
the between the lines.
it's been retcon now. He just said Poyo.
Yeah, it's
Poyo.
Poyo.
All right, so we got Kirby. We've got King DDD.
The big penguin guy, yeah?
He's a big penguin. And so, like, do you know how in the Mario series, Bowser is Mario's arch nemesis? He steals the princess. He tries to kill Mario with fire and junk. But then they also will, like, go-kart racing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
DDD is like that, but pretty much only the go-kart part.
Yeah.
Oh.
They're like arch rival enemies who never really fight and just kind of hang out and are friends.
They're just
Oh.
it's just this is just what male friendship is, by the way. It's not like they're not like trying to kill each other. They do their little dance, they like fight around, and then
But like
they,
it's
and
a
then
rivalry.
and then they go home with each other and they have a taco or whatever.
So they're tsundere with each other? Is that
King DDD's
No.
he's just kind of full of himself. He's the king, you know.
I wrote here, personality-wise, you can think of King DDD like CJ.
Huh.
He's selfish and arrogant, but
Mm.
he wants people to like him.
Yeah.
So he usually does the right thing through peer pressure.
minus the stealing everybody's food part? Or...
I do that all the time, but only
everybody's food?
because
Yeah.
I want people to notice me. Aw.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the first game, and DDD, that's like the most villainous thing DDD does, is he gets hungry and he steals everybody's food.
Yeah.
Does he give it back willingly, or was it like a fight?
Kirby just kind
I
of
mean, it
bunks him
was
on
a-
the head, and then he's like, "You stop that, DDD," and he's like, "Oh, okay."
So DDD is the king of Dreamland because he says so,
Mm.
Okay.
and all
Usually
of
how
the
that goes.
adorable, yeah, I mean, all of the adorable residents serve him, or don't if they don't feel like it that day.
Yeah, it's not like he's conquering them or whatever. He's just like, I don't know, these guys. I said I was king, and these guys just started attending me. Yeah, sure, whatever. This was
All right.
fine.
Shit.
I am the king. So he's the villain in the first game because he steals all the food. But after that, in pretty much every other game, if you fight DDD, it's either because of a misunderstanding or because DDD has been magically possessed,
Aw.
which we're gonna get into, but that happens a lot.
That's kind of a wholesome way to do conflict in baby platformer.
I mean,
It is. There are no
There's
bad
no
guys
true
who
villains.
live on Dreamland.
Yeah.
At least not anymore.
there's no corporeal villainy afoot, generally speaking.
That's
So-
good.
There's Kirby, King DDD. There are the Waddle Dees.
Oh
Mhm.
boy,
Those are
They
those like
are-
red and yellow critters running around, right?
they're brown, but yeah,
They're
like
brown?
They're brown.
Yeah.
No, they're
Yeah.
bad.
No, they are not red at all, Fran. They
No.
are brown. We are
What?
not gonna do the whole like gold dress, blue dress, or whatever the fuck. They're just
I'm not
brown.
even colorblind.
Regardless of their color, which is brown, Waddle
Not that it
Dees are the-
matters. Not that that's a
Waddle
bad
Dees-
thing. That's fine.
Oh man.
Yeah, I brought it there.
Waddle Dees are the main population of Dreamland,
Hmm.
and they are like just these chill little adorable dudes.
Wait, does Kirby eat them?
He can.
Yes,
He can.
absolutely.
Okay, again, Fran, and I want to be really clear on this. Kirby can and often does eat anyone or anything.
Oh.
Just
Can he
on
eat
a
DDD?
He doesn't swallow him.
Yeah,
If
I
that
don't
helps.
I don't recall DDD ever being swallowed alive.
That's
Um,
okay.
but
Yeah, and I think that's a
They-
respect thing, but like he definitely can put him in his mouth.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So Waddle Dees, they're these chill, adorable little dudes, and they have like pure follower energy,
Mm.
right? Like they do what other people tell them to. And so a bunch of them serve DDD, and sometimes they serve other villainous creatures, but they're also like very self-aware that they're the weakest creatures on the planet. So they don't try very hard ever, and they mostly just goof off.
It's good to know where you stand.
Yeah, well, keeping in mind that like a
Mhm.
lot of other creatures have like ice lances or like fireballs or
Isn't there one that's like a sword thing that like goes
yeah,
in an
there's
arc?
people with
It's like little
swords. Waddle Dees don't have fuck
Mhm.
all for that. They just are little
Yeah.
lads who just sort of waddle back and forth. They're Waddle Dees.
The Waddle Dees mostly just goof off, and they're the weakest creatures on the planet, which is also why they're loyal to DDD in the first place, because even though he bullies them, he is also their protector.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, he's got a big hammer and he uses it
He
to
have
smash.
very big hammer.
He uses it to smash things. Waddle Dees don't
That's
have
true.
any hammers. They're docile by nature.
So Waddle Dees don't get names, but recurring ones just get names for whatever they're wearing. So like one of the ones that's friends with Kirby and is the most common one that you'll see is Bandana Waddle Dee.
Because
Because
it
you
wears
see-
a bandana.
Now
He
you got
wears
it,
a
friend.
bandana.
Very
What
good.
color bandana?
It's blue.
Does it change?
Blue.
No, it's just
Oh.
blue. He's a cute little
Uh,
boy.
Sounds
He
adorable.
wields a spear that he uses to kill.
Oh, doesn't
Yeah.
have a hammer but has spear.
This one has learned the ways of the spear
Of
of
violence.
violence. They're not the Waddle Dees are not incapable of violence. They just usually choose not
mean,
to.
Their predisposition to non-violence.
Yeah.
Their violence is usually walking straight in a line,
Mhm.
and if Kirby touches them, he happened to get hurt a little because it's a platformer.
Yeah.
Mm.
They're Goombas. If Goombas had really low, if Mario
If-
had like 80 hits from a Goomba before he died.
So we've got these characters, and then we've also got Meta Knight.
His arch
Who-
nemesis.
He thinks he
His-
is kind of.
His other arch frenemy. He has two arch frenemies.
Oh, they're buds?
Yeah, they hang out and eat
Uh,
sandwiches together sometimes.
Aw.
They super do. So Meta Knight is a Kirby, but shh, it's a secret and never officially confirmed that he's a Kirby. But in like every single game where you fight Meta Knight, you knock his mask off at the end of the fight, and you can very clearly see that he is just like a dark blue Kirby.
Yeah,
Oh.
he's just a dark-skinned Kirby.
So is the implication that because all Kirbys come from original Kirby, that
No,
Meta Knight is a clone?
I mean,
of
maybe
Kirby?
No.
maybe we should
In-
call Matt Pet right now. Just hot off the press, Matthew.
No. It is that is not the implication, and
Oh.
in fact, it is sort of suggested that Meta Knight knows a little more about the Kirby race than Kirby does, because Meta
Oh.
Knight will on several occasions explain powers to Kirby that Kirby has that he was not aware of.
Oh, okay.
And so Meta Knight, he's sometimes antagonistic towards Kirby. He is sometimes like a mentor.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then they are sometimes like
It's
you
like
know,
the
warrior
goading
allies.
mentor.
Yeah,
thing.
he's
Mhm.
like
It's like,
Vegeta.
in order for you to improve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said Vegeta, I said Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah,
but
it's all
yeah.
that. It's they're just like I push you because I want you to get stronger because I want someone stronger to fight. And
Mhm.
then Sonic goes, "You're too slow," and he's like, "I fucking hate that. I fucking hate that hedgehog so goddamn much." The fact that I'm
But
cloned
damn
from
it,
him,
I respect
the
him.
fact I'm cloned from him, I fucking hate myself more because of how much I hate him. But then they have a little race and they do little skateboard tricks, and then they're fine again.
And then they're fine again. So yeah, it's basically like that. Meta Knight will sometimes fight Kirby just to like help, teach him sometimes it's because they have misunderstandings, and then Meta Knight does also get possessed
Gets
sometimes.
possessed by
Aw.
evil spirits. Yeah.
There's a lot of evil
Mhm.
spirits in the
Well,
this world.
if
would
it
seem.
helps, Fran, if an evil spirit exists that possesses like King DDD, it will just possess all of the other
Oh, okay.
characters that are not really evil but are fighting Kirby for this game. So
Okay.
if it's one,
Mhm.
it's all of them.
Mm-hmm. So Meta Knight is multiple times in like the game lores referred to as the strongest warrior, but the thing is that he keeps losing to a little pink puffball.
But it sounds like he's
Like-
might be doing it on purpose because
Well,
he's
when
trying
he's
to
po-
make
when
Pink
he's
Puffball
possessed
stronger.
when he's possessed by an evil spirit, he wants to kill the Kirby. He desires the Kirby blood, but he cannot draw it. He's always
Both-
defeated.
Both Meta Knight and DDD have a recorded complex because they can't beat this adorable tiny little creature that lives on their planet.
He's not a creature of desire, Fran. I mean, he does hunger, but he doesn't care about victory, but he can't lose. He's too powerful. He's like a tornado. A tornado isn't angry at a trailer park. A tornado doesn't come through and destroy a Walmart because it hates Walmart. A tornado just is. And also tornadoes love cake and treats and delicious cookies and will suck those
Mhm.
up if it finds them.
Mm-hmm. And if a tornado throws a friendship heart at you,
Then
have
you
to be
are
its friend.
befriended to it forever until you die. Or until the tornado decides it wants a new friend and then you die anyway.
Oh my gosh.
So none of this sounds crazy yet.
No.
Yeah, this all sounds totally normal
Seems
for
fine.
me.
And Kirby games always start off gentle and adorable,
Yeah.
and then they get like crazy,
Mm.
right? So it usually goes from adorable little dreamland waddle dees to like biblical angels who want to tear reality apart so that darkness can spread to all things.
Oh.
That's how MLMs start and religions. It's all just like really chill stuff at 1st,
Mhm.
and then once you're kind of engaged, then they crank it up, you know. Then it's like, "Oh, by the way, did you know that drinking this I don't know, kiwi fruit water actually brings you closer to the God the creator above?" And it's like, "I didn't know that, but I mean, I'm already drinking the kiwi fruit, so I guess I'm in it now."
I like hearing that.
I like that.
So let me give you like an example. Kirby Superstar, it's a couple games further into the series, and it's like a small collection of Kirby games. In Milky Way Wishes within Kirby Superstar,
Sounds adorable.
it's very adorable. The sun and the moon have gotten into an argument, Fran,
Uh-oh.
and they fight all day and night because they can't come to an agreement.
Okay.
This adorable little jester named Marks, and he's just like he's a cute little, he's like Kirby, he's just got little feeties. He's just like a ball with feeties and a
Cute.
jester hat.
Yep. Cute.
He comes to Kirby and he says, "I know, we can ask the Comet Nova for help. But to
Okay.
call on Nova, we have to go to all of the nearby planets' fountains to put out the call. And only Kirby has what it takes to make this journey."
Okay.
And Kirby's
So-
like, "Poyo."
Yeah, and Kirby says Poyo, and he goes and does it. So, like, we start off in Gentle Babyland. The first boss that you fight in this one and in almost every Kirby game is Wispy Woods.
It's a
Is it the
tree.
tree?
Is a tree,
It's-
Fran.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
a tree
With
with,
the
a
apples?
cute face that tries to drop apples
Is
on
it the
you.
shocked looking tree? And it's like, oh.
It's not. It's like it's blowing.
I mean,
wind
it's got like a
usually.
little
It's
O face.
Oh yeah, the O face is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Of.
yeah, because
Yeah,
it's blowing wind usually.
It does. It usually does two things. It'll blow a little wind at you, and it will drop apples.
Yeah.
And that's our first enemy. That's our base level,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
I have exception to this enemy because every other enemy is evil for some reason. But the tree is just there. It's just a tree. And it's never, in all the games, it's never like you beat it and it's like, oh, the evil spirit is released. It's just a tree. and then you kill this tree because it's in your way. When you could it's a tree. You just go around the tree. But I guess
does. Yeah, it sort of feels like Kirby's just like, a new adventure. I guess I need a warm up.
And
Time
I
to go beat on my tree
and
punching
like
bag.
and it's always the same tree. It's wispy wood, but like he kills the tree almost every time. So I imagine the tree drops its fruit as it perishes, and then we don't know the time between adventures. So I imagine one of these fruit sprout back into the mighty wispy wood like the Deku tree does. And then it's like it has its ancestors' memories. It says, watch out for the vicious little pink cue ball that's gonna come and destroy us for no reason. And then the day comes and it goes, finally, I will avenge father. I'll drop apples and blow wind at this little puffball. But it's just never enough.
I can't imagine that they have memories, because otherwise they would maybe realize, wait, every time I drop apples at him, he just sucks them up and shoots them back in my face.
What else can you do, Ethan? You're a tree. It's your nature. That's all you know. You're just trying to defend yourself for no reason. This Kirby comes, and you know he likes fruit. He eats it. Why would he kill a fruit tree? That's absurd. That's like saying I love McDonald's, so I go and do an arson at a McDonald's. It doesn't make sense.
Is that cuteness aggression or like love aggression?
I think so. Do you guys get that where you see something that's so cute you want to literally strangle it to death?
Or
Because that
eat it?
happens. Yeah, that happens to me. I don't know if they say that that's a normal thing.
I think that's a form of psychopathy.
No, I think like
No, it's actually standard.
you just see like you see one of those piglets on like TikTok or whatever that's
It's-
just
okay,
like
so,
trotting
like,
around in a field, and you just
the
want to
thing
pick it up
is-
and hurl it into the sun.
So the thing is, Fran, that I don't feel that way, and I refuse to believe that, like, it's abnormal for me to not want to smush and kill cute
Well, it's
things.
because you love something so much, you just want to eat it. So
I
it's
thought
like
it was
like
I
when
thought-
older aunties are like, "Oh, your chubby cheeks are just so cute. I just want to bite them," or your little toes.
I did not know. I never imagined that my auntie
No,
actually
it's-
wanted to devour me.
No, I heard it's because it's like the call of the void, where like you're standing on a big tall thing and it's like
The
it's
call of the
something-
cute chubby
Yeah,
cheeks.
it's the same thing. Well, it's like you're standing on a big tower or whatever, and you're looking down and you're like, oh man, I could your mind is immediately like, I could just fucking jump off this shit and die. And then you're supposed to do that because then your like conscious brain's supposed to take over and be like, oh, I shouldn't do that. I should avoid the edge. Like that's the whole purpose, is to be like, hey, if you don't be careful, I think we could just jump right off. It's the same thing with little cute things where it's like, oh, if I don't be careful, I could take this little duckling and I could squish him into a little baseball and I could fucking hurl him up into the air and take a stick and just bat him out of the park.
All right.
It's like, but I shouldn't do that. I'm thinking about the things I
Listen,
don't want to happen to this adorable little thing.
Tweet at us at Spices with
with
if
all
you
your
think
intrusive thoughts.
If you think CJ is insane for having these thoughts, and also if Twitter still exists.
I think that it might, but I also think that I'm in the right here, and I think that it's fine. It's fine to have the dark thoughts, Ethan. You just can't act on them. That's the
Correct.
difference.
Very,
Very
very disturbing.
That's the difference between us and Elon. Always remember that.
Okay. Let's get back to the tree we just beat up, right?
Yeah, please.
So this is like the base level where things start for Kirby game, right? We beat up a tree that drops apples. Like this is as baby as it gets.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So you keep going. The difficulty ramps up a little, but like you're still doing mostly adorable things. Once Kirby has activated the fountains on all of the 7 nearby planets,
Mm-hmm.
Nova the comet shows up, which is a weird like clockwork mechanization comet that is also the size of like a moon.
Cool.
Yeah, it's got like
And-
biblical angel energy.
Okay.
And before Kirby can ask it for help, Marx pushes him out of the way and wishes to rule planet Popstar.
It was a
Oh.
deception, Fran.
Ah.
And then Marx shows his true form and grows demonic wings with like fractal glass panes as the wingspan
Mm.
and just like demon fangs.
Oh.
Yeah. So we need to
That gets scary.
we need to address some things like this plan of Mark's. He wants to rule this planet. Okay, whatever. You can fly to different planets. He could rule any planet, but whatever. He wants this one. So let's stay with that line of thought. The de facto ruler, and I do say de facto because he's just a guy who's like, I'm the king of this, I guess, city on this planet.
Yeah.
He's like a buffoon. So if he wanted to take over the planet, he could have just done it. He could have just been like, I'm king now. And DDD was like, nuh-uh. And then just like slap him around a little bit and be like, okay, anyone else have a problem? No? Cool. My planet now. But instead he decided to deceive the little puffball.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, activate the 7 ancient relics of old and summon forth the grand comet deity who can, I guess, grant wishes. And then via that method, then I will take control of the planet instead of just a normal coup, like a normal, a normal
Yes.
dictator.
This was Marx's plan from the start. In fact, he reveals that he was the one who started the argument between the sun and the moon.
Even more bananas. He has the power to start shit between celestial bodies, and this is his plan to take over this shitty little star planet. He could have like been like, hey, by the way, I don't know, random asteroid. I heard that planet was talking shit about you. You should slam your face first into it, right where that little Kirby house is. That's what I think you should do. And he'd be like, it did what? All right, fuck it.
I mean, maybe he's doing it in this convoluted way because he knows a little pink puffball lives on this planet.
Yeah, do you think
Because-
Kirby would survive an asteroid, like the epicenter impact of an asteroid? Would Kirby survive that?
I mean,
maybe.
what happens next is Kirby goes and beats up the asteroid.
Yeah, that's true.
So Nova grants any wish that is asked of it. So it does as Mark
Worst
says.
thing.
Worst fucking
Wow.
thing ever. If a thing
Wow.
like that existed, we would live in hell realm.
Yeah. That's not good.
It starts looming towards planet Popstar, and Kirby jumps inside of it, goes into its mechanical core, and does like destroy Nova. Okay.
Cool.
This enrages Marks, and they fight,
Mm-hmm.
and surprise Kirby wins.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing, Nova, it grants any wish asked of it, and clearly it needs to put a little more into this. So the broken Nova, it puts all of its energy into Marks, like Marks absorbs the entire asteroid,
Mm,
Oh.
making him functionally a god.
Oh.
nice.
And so the last boss of this game that started with a tree is True Marx's soul.
Mhm.
He tears reality asunder, and he and Kirby battle in the pulsing void.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Marx fires laser beam cannons at him, and when you go and try to attack Mark, he just like splits himself in half down the middle and pulls apart and opens a black hole in between.
Mm-hmm.
His eyes like lose focus as you fight him, and like the pulsing void, it keeps getting like darker and more ominous as you beat on him,
Oh.
until finally the last hit you give him, he gives this like truly awful Super Nintendo level death scream.
It's like
Oh,
a
dear.
bit crust, like,
It is unpleasant to
disturbing.
hear.
all right,
Yeah.
here's what's great about all this. So we know we can get some like power level readings on this, right? Because there is a comet that could grant any wish, which if he was just like, I want to rule the planet, and it was just like, all right, done, then that's like a magical like rewriting reality stone kind of wish, right? But he doesn't do that. He just gives him the strength to attempt to take over. So we know that there's like the wish spell in this universe, but we also know that whatever Kirby is, he's stronger than that. because he wished for a thing to be reality, and then it wasn't because of Kirby. So we know that there's like a power level rating of magical wishing is like mid, and then at least at some point above that is Kirby.
Is there a limit to Kirby's power? I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll have to talk
Not if
about
you can
it
just
more.
suck up things and take their powers.
By the way, Fran, Kirby can. I mean, we kind of buried the lead. He can go between planets because he can fly on his little star.
Mhm.
Oh, cute.
So remember in the remember in the first one where they were
Yeah.
like they still is
How they can play amongst the heavens.
yeah. So
Yes.
the stars are what his little like star
His
surfboard.
warp star.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
warp star is what lets him go to
It
different
does.
planets.
It does travel faster than the speed of light.
It travels
Aw.
faster than reality. It travels faster than reality. It doesn't matter. The warp star is its own thing. Does it get its power from Kirby? I don't know, but Kirby doesn't fly anywhere without it. It's like Goku's Nimbus, but only in the original Dragon Ball, not in Dragon Ball Z, where they can just fly. Okay. Here's the thing about Dragon Ball Z. What's the point?
Okay.
What's the point of the flying Nimbus if everyone can fly? That's what they had to. What's the point of a big long pole when you can teleport anywhere? I wish flying Nimbus was more important, is what I'm saying in the Dragon Ball mythos.
Okay. All right.
But flying Nimbus and the Warp Star, same energy.
Yeah, I mean, if we're being fair, I feel like the extendo pole would still be pretty useful in fights. His stick is strong.
Well, okay. If you think that, I'll let you think that. Your untrained body knows little of combat. If you came at me with a long stick, I'd be like, no. I'd merely instant transmission behind you and defeat you.
But see, I extended my stick behind
Oh,
me.
fuck.
You just
You're right.
Okay. So Kirby's got some weird creatures in his game, like True
Yeah.
Marx's soul.
Mhm.
Yes.
Who is apparently like a trickster god, like a demon, some sort of trickster demon.
It's some sort of demon.
A demon coming here, trying to take over Dreamland. That's what DDD would sound like. What'll these? Form a
So-
defensive perimeter. We need to defend the castle from demons.
So does King Dedede and Meta Knight show up in every Kirby game or no? Because
The
they
vast
weren't the
majority.
Most of
They
them.
So
weren't the villain
DDD
in
shows
this-
up in
one. So
so DDD shows up in the vast majority of them, and I would say Meta Knight shows up in like over half of them.
okay,
Mm,
but not like every single one.
no.
Not like every.
There's a
single-
lot of Kirby games, Fran. There's a lot.
There are a lot of Kirby
Okay.
games.
So for the most
Um,
part, those are
So
players.
we have those are our like main characters we talked about, but now that we're getting into villainy stuff,
Hmm.
it's time to talk about dark matter.
Yeah. Now we're gonna
Okay.
fucking get into it, Fran. What do you know about dark matter?
In theory, it's 50% of the universe? Question mark.
Probably even more so, Fran. And we just made that up. And by we I mean science, but we're just like stuff isn't working right. What do we do? And we're like
Mhm.
Must be dark matter.
invent an invisible thing we can't see or monitor. And
Mhm.
apparently recently they're like, and we'll never be able to see or monitor. And we'll just say that that's the reason stuff happens.
Yep.
Mhm.
So there you go.
So all of that is canonically correct,
Mhm.
but also dark matter does hate goodness and want to cover all worlds in darkness.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true in our reality as well. That's why it permeates everywhere.
So dark matter is as a group, as a species,
Hmm.
dark matter are
Species.
some
Hmm.
yes.
Okay.
They are some of the like primary villains of the Kirby universe.
Hmm.
Okay.
And they are you can kind of tell them apart because they have like some characteristics that they keep in common. So one thing is they normally, while they can take all different kind of forms, if you beat on them enough, they will show a core self that is usually like spherical, biblical angel-y looking, and has like a single eye,
One
right?
Like you know
Oh, those
you,
things. Yeah.
you know like in Full Metal Alchemist when they open the door and then just like a
Yeah.
big eyeball opens up. It's like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
So yeah, there's the dark matter creature Dark Matter.
Mhm.
There's the dark matter creature Zero. There's the dark matter creature O2. And there's like a lot of creatures that have not canonically been called dark matter, but share all of those like visual designs, right?
Yeah.
And so like that's kind of an important thing with Kirby is that they, because they don't have a lot of like dialogue
Mm-hmm.
speaking to one another, right? They tell a lot through the visuals.
Mm-hmm.
So if something shares like a bunch of visual elements, that's their strong way of telling you like these two things are related, right? And so what the dark matter's plans are usually that they want to just like cover these planets in darkness, like sap the life out of everything that lives there, right? Make them into like shadowy, hateful versions of themselves.
Oh, Ethan,
And
this isn't a metaphor for capitalism, is it? It better not be.
this as I said, the Kirby things often sound like metaphors, but that's just what it is.
It's just what they are.
um And so this is why that possession stuff that we were talking about earlier comes into play so often, because one of the abilities of dark matter is that they seem to be able to just possess regular creatures and fill them with darkness.
Mm,
And so
just like
they
Twitter.
do that just like they do a Twitter on DDD all the
No.
time.
Oh, could you imagine if DDD was on Twitter? I don't know if I would like to see that.
I'm gonna clobber them Kirby's.
Oh, good. You can't say that, DDD. You're gonna get canceled. The woke waddle left mob. That
Mhm.
sucks. Cut that out, me in
Yeah.
the future.
Nobody can be a waddle do nowadays. Everybody's got to be a waddle dee.
All right, Tim Allen, DDD. I can't. Those two things cannot. Like I'm trying to push them together like magnets, and I just can't.
All right. Back on track with dark matter. They're very freaky to look at, Fran.
I can imagine.
Yeah, no, I mean like I said, they're these like big spheres with singular eyeballs. They are the only things in all Kirby games that are known to bleed.
They do bleed.
Oh.
If you hit them, they will bleed.
Oh.
That's I think it's Zero. His death animation does involve his eyeball tearing out of his sphere form and just
Ugh.
like blood tears coming out after.
Oh, good
Mhm.
gracious.
Well, it's not. If you kill a god, Fran.
They
I mean,
all-
according
to bleed?
according to the Aztec, if we go by like Aztec rules, like God, when you kill a god and tear its bits apart, then it will like bleed gold and like make mountains with their fallacies and such. So, who knows
Oh.
what mystical planets and species are being created by these epic scale fights between
Mhm.
these dark deities and this little boy. He's a
It's-
little cute
Oh.
boy with a bunch of
Yeah,
cheeks.
it's such a weird juxtaposition, Fran, because I've like described the blood eye deaths to you.
Mhm.
How Kirby accomplishes that against dark matter is they are very weak to goodness, and so
Okay.
he beats them with a love stick.
Oh my
He hits
god.
them with the love stick, Fran. That's how you
Gouges out
fight-
their
that's how
eyeballs
you
with the
fight-
love
Yeah,
stick.
you see Kirby pick up the stick. He grows fingers because it close ups on his hand, and he says, "I will take this and gouge out your soul, demon." But he says, "Poyo," and then he jumps up onto the sphere with an eyeball, and you can see it. He like pirates down a sail. He just stabs it in the eye and rips it down in
Ugh.
twain, and it explodes. And you can see like infinity within the eyeball, and as he's defeated, he goes Poyo, and then it's like a little like pew, 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 like the little fireworks explosions when you kill bosses in video games.
CJ is closer to accurate than he should be on that.
I play a Kirby game. I know a thing or two.
So, why is the series like this?
It's a good question.
So, partially, it's a difficulty progression thing. A lot of Kirby games, they have either like a hard mode that unlocks once you complete easy baby mode,
Okay.
or they have a special ending that only happens if you collect all the whatevers in that particular game.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of a nod to older players, and it's also just the fact that like CJ said, like these platformers in the beginning, they're so baby easy to beat that they would just like not be entertaining to someone over 8 years old. And so they always include a harder difficulty in some way to challenge players.
It's really hard to play a Kirby game as an adult to start, because the first at least half of the game is going to just be like, it's like nothing. You're supposed to just sit there and marvel at how cute all the creatures are and try out the little power-ups and then
I can
say,
do that.
"Oh, look at all of this. Kirby's a car now. That's fun." And
Well,
just do stuff
okay.
like that.
So then I have never played through a Kirby game. Surprise. But
that much is obvious, right?
the most recent one I've seen is the one that CJ was playing with, like where you can eat entire cars.
You
and
mean
things
at
like that.
you mean at twitch.tv/cooking with spices
Yes.
when I played the
Yeah.
Kirby game? Oh, yeah,
Yes,
that's a good
that
good
is the
point,
last
Frank.
time I've seen it. But is there dark matter plots within that game also where he ends up like gouging eyeballs out of things and making them bleed? I just didn't watch that far, or
Pretty close, yeah. So
even that cute one, we're just big Kerbo, big chunk Kerbo.
Oh,
No.
big water-filled Kerbo. He's big waddling around with his big,
He's just big and
big
cute,
jiggly
eating
little-
giant objects. But
So-
then it goes dark, or
It always goes dark, Fran.
I would like you, Fran, to look up Chimera form Fectoforgo.
what?
Yeah. What part of that aren't you getting, Fran?
Chimera form.
Here, why don't I
what?
could send you.
Fargo?
Let me just send this to you. This is one of the later enemies in that adorable game that you were talking about.
What the fuck is this thing? What?
It's a villain, Fran. It needs to be destroyed.
It's concerning looking.
It is
It's like a
very
goo
concerning.
monster with a
It's a
fang
goo
face.
monster that has devoured a bunch of the beasts of the land
Oh my
and absorbed
gosh.
their essence into its chimeric form.
Oh, I don't like that.
That's what
Nope.
we're talking about, friend. This is the
Nope.
transition that Kirby's games
Nope.
make.
How far into the game does it turn into this though? Is it like a gradual thing and then like you don't even notice it until,
No,
Not
it's
usually.
or is
It's
it like a
quite-
sudden change?
yeah, it's usually a pretty sudden change.
Well,
I
like,
mean,
like imagine the Marks one, right? Where it's like for 7 worlds, you're just like going through the level. It's like a regular Kirby game, and then in the last act, then it's like, by the way, I tricked you. I'm a demon deity. It was all part of my plan, and now I'm going to ascend to hell.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Okay.
this is how Kirby games go.
This is the
and like I
format.
said,
Are they just assuming the children don't get that far?
Yeah,
and
they wouldn't be
then-
able to. It's too hard. It gets too hard. Like if you that's you know what, that is like the rite of passage. Like it's not that they're blocking off the like horrifying stuff to children. It's that if you can beat a Kirby game to the point of getting to the horrific stuff, then you deserve to know.
You're emotionally
you're a
mature.
man.
enough.
Exactly. You've grown and you're allowed to do it. That's how
They should do that for most rating systems. Like for movies, if you can last through the movie long enough, then you
that
get, like,
would
the
be
cool
good,
endings.
Fran. That is
Right.
basically what Avatar was. Because if you could get through the first 2 hours of that movie, then they treat you with an underwhelming action sequence at the end. So only people who are emotionally mature enough to deal with a bunch of fucking bullshit can see the actual violence. You're right. James
we
Cameron
felt
is
real good
actually a
about that movie.
genius.
All right, so it's this way partially, yeah, it's a difficulty progression, coming of age, blah, blah, blah. But it is also partially because Kirby's original designer, Masahiro Sakurai, is insane.
Yeah.
What other
And-
games did Sakurai make?
His
what
other big
games?
series is Super Smash Bros.
Oh, okay. That's why I know the name.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah,
Smash
Sakurai
Brothers.
has a weird obsession with god beings who want to destroy all.
That sounds about right.
That's a normal
Mhm.
obsession.
So, to highlight that, let's talk a little bit about Super Smash Bros.
I do get Smash lore.
Which-
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm. So this isn't like official Kirby lore, but I think it's like important to kind of understanding Sakurai's mind space.
His beautiful
So-
mind, yeah.
Smash Bros is a fighting series, right?
Yes.
It doesn't have a lot of story to it.
There's story progression in the Wii and Switch versions, right?
Well, we're getting
Those
we're
are
Okay,
getting
those
there.
are those are the story specific adventures.
Yeah.
In the first game, the fighters, who are various Nintendo characters, are all toys brought to life by a magic hand called Master Hand. And you can functionally see it as a kid is playing with all of his toys from different series.
Oh, that makes
and that's-
sense.
Yeah, that's it. That's like the
Okay.
premise for the game.
All right.
Which
Alright.
if you
And
if you extend that like mentality, that means that to win the game, you as a toy have to overcome the power that is your both creator and again just a child who's just imagining stuff, which means this child is overwhelmed with what they've created. The power of these warriors that he's imagined into existence surpasses his own. It's awesome
Yeah.
All right.
and very
so,
scary.
despite CJ's more epic explanation, it's like a pretty tame explanation for the game series, right? It's a kid playing
Yeah.
with toys.
Yeah.
Sakurai could have just left it at that.
Nah.
Nobody, absolutely nobody asked him to elaborate on it. But then in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, he gives us Subspace Emissary.
Yeah.
Which is, that's the large single player story campaign that you were talking
Yeah.
about. Dan.
That shit rules.
And
It's great.
we'll have to do like a bigger overview of Subspace Emissary some other
Yes.
time.
That's its whole
Yes.
thing.
But-
yeah.
Yay. Okay.
I'm gonna give you just the highlights here.
Okay.
So there is this being named Taboo, and he lives in subspace, which is a realm of empty darkness.
Cool.
He covets the world of trophies. The toys are trophies now.
Okay.
But he can't leave subspace. But what he does is he shoots out these chains of light onto Master Hand so that he can control him like a puppet.
Mm.
Cool.
He uses Master Hand and some others to build an army of evil and creates these subspace bombs which explode pieces of the real world into subspace.
Mhm.
He recruits the bad guy characters to start rounding up the good guys, and it looks like all of creation is going to be sucked into subspace where this new god Taboo will reign over them, right?
Right. Awesome.
So, of all of the Nintendo properties in the Super Smash Bros. Game, which Brawl is the third entry in the series, we've got quite a few by this point. Who do you think is the one character who can stop Taboo?
Well, there's two ways to answer this. There's Mario's always Nintendo's main guy. But
Okay,
then
you're
we're
wrong.
in the Kirby episode of the
Oh,
Lore
you saw the
Know,
title of the
and
episode.
therefore-
Nice.
Therefore, it must be Princess Peach.
That would be
All right.
That would be wild if she had her own game where she used her wildly swinging female emotions to overcome obstacles in order to save everybody. That would be such a weird, crazy game to bring into existence.
Well, you're right, Fran.
Thank
it
you.
was Kirby.
Ah,
He can't.
So,
Okay, so here's the thing: the hands
Uh-huh.
represent humanities. Like we're like observing these creatures
Hubris.
and making
would you
head
like to take a toke
No,
before
we're
you
like,
get into
we're like
this?
we're like observing these creatures and making headcanon, and like that's what's creating this world, right? But then even within that, even within like the fact that these are all made by us, by man, Kirby persists. He exists in a greater capacity than our ability to imagine him. And if that isn't what God is, I don't know what God is. Like you it's like if you okay, imagine that you think of a thing in your head and then you're like, I don't want this to exist anymore. And so you try everything you can to make that thing in your head, which doesn't exist really, but does exist now because you mind made it in your head, and you try everything you can to make that not exist in your head anymore, and you can't because it fights you so hard. The thing that you imagined is stronger than you. Can God make a rock so big even he can't lift it? Apparently, and that rock's name is Kirby, and Kirby can defy all reason and logic.
CJ really loves Kirby.
It's absurd.
We all really love Kirby.
I want to eat him. I want to just. I think
He
he'd
wants
be
to eat you, too.
I think you'd be chewy.
Oh no!
Like-
Yeah, I think Kirby would eat you if any.
That would be horrifying if you put Kirby in your mouth and then he eats you from your own inside,
Oh,
and you
no.
get
He
like,
probably
flipped inside out as you. He would do it too, and he wouldn't
He'd
even
do it.
feel.
Yeah.
He wouldn't even feel sad about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, weird thing about Kirby is that, like, in all of the games that you see him in, whether, it's Super Smash Bros. Or, like, the latest one where he interacts with Earth world objects,
Yeah,
he looks like he's roughly, like, 3 feet tall, right?
which
That's
is too
large.
big. That's too big.
Yeah,
He's-
that's a large pink ball running
He
around.
is,
I
he's
like that.
he's canonically 8 inches tall.
Yeah, that's better.
No.
Yeah,
So-
What?
he is,
yeah.
he
he's
is,
good.
like, a good meal size.
That
An
is
8. What meals are you eating that is 8 inches orbular in mass?
It's 8
When I
inches.
That's
go
a big
to,
meal.
When I go to Qdoba, I keep having them fill that burrito until it
until
becomes
it's
a
Kirby
sphere.
sized.
I could
I
see a
like it.
plate being 8 inches in diameter.
Mhm.
Maybe
I
not
I
the
just
food.
I just tell them I'd like my sphere burrito, please, and they're like, "All right, the special."
This guy.
Kirby special.
Great, love it. I wish he would go home.
He won't leave.
He won't leave. Keeps asking for sphere burrito.
Kirby is your primary character in Subspace Emissary, and he is like the main character who moves the plot alongside DDD and not like technically Meta Knight, but Meta Knight's Dreadnought
Yeah.
is a huge part of the story as well.
Mm,
Yeah.
So it's all Kirby.
Okay.
it's powerful.
It's this may be sounding familiar at this point. A weird god thing wants to pull all worlds into darkness, and of all the Nintendo properties, only Kirby can stop him.
Sounds
But
correct.
this is where it gets wild, right? Because again, we have like Link is there, and like he could have used the power of the Triforce to stop this, but even the Triforce wishing power wouldn't have been enough to like prevent this. Only something that exists beyond the power of deities, a god
Mhm.
killer, could have possibly like had enough strength, enough power to like prevent this from happening.
And so that's weird, right? But that's just kind of a one-off thing. They did it once in the Super Smash Bros. Subspace Emissary. No, then they do it again in
Yes.
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Yeah, except
Yes.
Right?
even more hands.
Even more.
Isn't this
So-
one called like Eternal Light or something like that?
World of Light.
World of Light.
Colors faded to an emerald of gray. Distant forces and the Kirby is cool. Yeah, it's that one.
Yeah, good job. Good job, CJ.
Thanks.
So that game's adventure mode is not nearly as beefy, but it's going to sound like a
Actually,
pretty
it
similar
kinda
song.
sucks, but yeah.
Yeah. It's like a similar story-wise, right? Galeem, who is a giant angel sphere god,
Mhm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
He wants to recreate the world in his image.
Of
So
spheres?
All spheres, all light spheres.
All spheres,
Well,
I
Kirby's
guess.
got a head
Oops,
start then.
all spheres is what he wants.
So yeah, he like They don't ever explain this, but I guess in CJ's metaphor about the hands being people's will, he does have like an army of dozens of master hands that he tears apart to pull out the energy inside, which he then zaps at all of the fighters in the Smash universe.
Yeah. He's
And
it's like the liberal, like I think it's the liberal media, and he's controlling all these hands, and he's actually, but his dark machinations are to kill all that's pure and good in the world, like Sonic the Hedgehog.
so,
Fucking
so he uses those zappy powers to like blast into non-being every single fighter in the Smash universe. He gets Mario, he gets Mega Man, he gets Solid Snake, he gets Simon Belmont, he gets Sonic, he gets Bayonetta, he gets everyone.
Everyone, all your favorite characters. Name a character, Fran.
Pac-Man.
He gets Pac-Man.
He gets Pac-Man.
He gets Pac-Man. He tries to Waka Waka away, but he can't. It's really fun. Have you seen the intro to this?
Yeah.
To this like game? Because it's
Yeah.
really funny. It like the imagery of Sonic the Hedgehog, who you have to imagine they had to have him do this because he is the fastest thing alive. That's canonically true. He can run. He can run faster than God. I'm pretty sure. But he's
Like
but
Kirby?
what do we know about Sonic? He loves his friends, and so he is running away from the light that's killing everything. But he's reaching back to Pikachu. He's like, "Come on, little buddy, I'll run fast enough to get us out of here." But Pikachu's too slow. Pikachu can't keep up with Sonic, and so they both get got. But I like to think that if Shadow was there, Shadow would have been fine. I think.
I mean, I don't know. We don't have Shadow in the Smash universe officially.
But I'm also a big fan of the characters who kind of stood their ground.
Actually, hold up, CJ, because you get all the spirit tokens.
Yeah.
And Shadow is a spirit token.
But he didn't.
Which does mean he got.
Well, in fairness, Kirby only didn't get got because he kind of stopped existing while existence was being shifted.
What?
So I said everyone, but I did mean everyone except Kirby.
Because Kirby was on his shooting star. He was on his warp star.
Okay.
He was on his warp star. Galeem is shooting these light beams at everybody, right?
Uh-huh.
But what did I say before about the warp star, Fran?
It's faster
than the speed of light.
Oh, and
So
Galeem is light.
You just cease being able to see Kirby because he is moving too fast to be seen.
Which again, like the whole universe is just being like it's being encompassed in a big light orb. But Kirby just goes elsewhere.
Faster. Yeah.
He all of existence becomes a light orb, but he just doesn't exist, I guess, for that.
So, man, I wish that they like kept adding to that opening scene as they added more characters to the game. I would really like to see Sephiroth being like just like pulls out his big sword and then just gets hit by light and disappears.
I think, well, here's the other thing, because I think Sonic could outrun him because Sonic is super Sonic, but he was trying to like grab Pikachu or whatever, and that slowed him down. You know who didn't stop to try and bring anyone with him? Kirby just left. He was just like, no, I see what's happening here. I will see you guys in whatever reality becomes reality after this one is done, figuring its stuff out. And that's what he does, because he's Kirby, and he's just like, Poyo. See ya, boys.
So yeah, you start that Smash Bros. Ultimate Adventure mode. The only character you start with is Kirby because he is the only one who has survived the destruction of the Smash universe.
I fucking love the characters who are like stand your ground against the light stuff too. That was really funny. Like, I don't remember which. I think like Link held up his shield or something. It's like, what are you doing, guy?
What you doing, bud?
Come on. Have some self-respect. At least freeze yourself in a cool pose.
Right. But yeah, no, I mean, you could blame this on Sakurai's character bias because he made both the Smash series and Kirby. But as far as we see in the series, The only one who, on multiple occasions, is able to fight back against the god evil of all of the Nintendo universe is Kirby.
I think
Yep.
I don't think it's up to Sakurai. This is autobiographical. He's creating these worlds to challenge his creation to like, is there something that can defeat what I've done? And every time they program the game, it's like, and then all the characters get turned into stickers or whatever the fuck. And then they like hit compile, and then the game starts up, and it's like, sir, Kirby is unaffected by the sticker ray or whatever. And he was like, how? And he goes, Nani? Because he's Japanese. And then that's just how they make games. He's like, we can't fix it. Every time we try and wrestle the Kerbo, he just shows up somewhere else. And that's what the game is, I guess. Well, that's just what the game will be.
And that is why Sakurai is going insane.
Yeah, because this little ball, this little orb, it haunts him. It's expanded. It takes up his entire mind now. Is Kirby. He sees the world through the eyes of Kirby. And is that good? I don't know. I don't think it will matter when everything is Kirby. That's just what it will be. There is no good, no bad. There's just Kerbo, little boy.
That is just the Curbs. Smash Bros, I think, it's kind of a fun illustration. It's kind of some fun Kirby stuff, but let's get back into canon Kirby themes.
Yeah, I don't want it to get all weird like that again, Ethan. I only want the regular good canon of the mainline Kirby series.
I'm with you, CJ.
Mm.
So let's talk about canon Kirby stuff like religious cults.
Oh yeah, okay.
No.
Yeah, now we're back.
Like in the
Yes.
game?
Like explicitly, canonically religious cults.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
Okay.
they're just, like the cool kind of religious cults, though, that will like do solstice stuff and like
Nope,
be-
world
oh,
universe destroying cults.
damn.
Oh.
Shit.
So, a long time ago, there
Mhm.
were these two clans, right? One of them were completely into science, and one of them were completely into magic.
I
I
Seriously,
feel like we've had
Kirby.
this starting plot before.
Yeah, every
Mhm.
anime, Fran.
Okay.
And so
Can't remember which
the-
episode.
the people who did magic, they were very like religion focused, and they worshipped beings of matter most dark.
Okay.
So they worship the dark matter, right?
Fran.
Mm-hmm.
And they harness their power through that.
Okay.
Through their dark rituals.
Well, the science people thought that was a bad. And
Probably.
so they destroyed that entire clan.
Good.
But did
And
they?
then it specifies that not only did they destroy the clan, but they also erased them from history, so it was as though they had never existed.
Oh.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Did you, Ethan, when you played Age of Empires 2 by yourself as a kid because you didn't have the internet, and you would like kill kill another civilization, would you be like in your little child brain be like, and I want not a single archaeologist to even know of your existence. So you're like killing their like lumber yards and like walls that don't protect anything even anymore because you're like, you will be but nothing to the world.
Again, tweet if you think CJ is a psychopath.
I think that's a pretty normal thing to drive your enemies before you, to hear the lamentation of their women.
Man. So, yeah, apparently CJ is from this science clan.
That makes sense to
and
me.
he wanted to entirely wipe them from history.
They're too dangerous to
And-
be left alive.
Yes, as you guessed, Fran, there was one survivor.
Mm-hmm.
His name was Highness,
Oh.
and he was just kind of doing his own thing until he had a dream in which a god told him that he would lead his people to a brighter tomorrow, to a beautiful new land where they could live, right?
What people?
Okay.
Ah, got him.
I mean,
They
I'm
did.
he's just, is he also supposed to, like, the implication in that dream that he wasn't telling everyone was that his god also was like, and you need to fuck. And it needs to be a lot. And you need to just spread your wild oats everywhere, my man.
I believe the original goal was to resurrect the clan.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
They
Because
they
of course
did
that's a thing
move-
you can do.
They
Sure.
moved away from that a little later on. So
Yeah,
it's
because he's
okay.
like, necromancy, very hard. Fucking a bunch, pretty easy. That's why most people choose that one instead of the former.
So Highness creates the Jambashtian religion
That's dumb.
around this
Jambashtian.
god, right? And this god is named Void.
Hmm.
And
Promising.
Void exists across all dimensions
Mm-hmm.
and is, quote, the progenitor of origination.
Great.
Sure.
Everything comes from nothing.
The
Yep.
beginning of the start. Very good.
Yes, yes.
Lucky Highness, his god is real.
Nice.
Void is a real being. It's this weird, giant, completely neutral entity,
Oh.
right?
Okay.
That just floats through space.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's just
But
chilling.
what it does is it takes in energy as it floats through space, right?
Okay, yeah.
And because it wants to be neutral, when it takes in enough of that, it releases all of that energy as a new incarnation of itself. So the main void again becomes neutral, and it creates a version of itself that is based on the energy that it took in, right?
Is the void Kirby?
Fran, I don't think
Kirby
we could. I
also
don't think we
splits
could
into new
say-
incarnations of himself that are
That doesn't-
different colored.
That doesn't make any sense, Fran. Ethan, what
So-
what is actually going on here?
Is it Kirby?
So we have Highness, right?
That's
who,
such
if
a
you
dumb
Who is
name.
not
No.
Kirby?
It sounds like Heine and it sounds like anus.
Well, it's your highness. That's the whole point. Is
Yeah,
like,
but when you just say if it's
Highness.
your highness, it's like all right. But if it's just highness,
So if you recall, Highness, he came from a clan who were worshippers and masters of darkness, right?
Yeah.
Of dark matter.
Yeah.
So he decides his plan is that he is going to fill Void with darkness energy so
Uh-huh.
that it reincarnates as Void Termina, an evil god who will destroy the universe and get revenge for his clan.
Because in order to make itself neutral, it has to expel all the dark energy.
All the
And
make a
dark
dark
energy
version of
entities.
itself. Okay,
as
got
an
it.
incarnation
Okay,
of itself.
Got it.
Yes.
Well, is that what the void wants, though? I don't think
the
the
void doesn't
wants that.
want anything.
Yeah.
The
But it's
the
all
void does
centered
not
on
want them-
him. The god is void, and they're making the god do things the god doesn't want to do. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's
I
what-
mean, the void wants for nothing.
Yeah, it just is. It is.
Yeah.
It
So why are you trying
it
to make it do
doesn't-
stuff it doesn't want to do?
It doesn't,
aren't very
doesn't
good
want to do
followers.
that.
Yeah, it also doesn't not care if it does or not. It could not want it to know of anything, but it all wants it be nothing to all.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
So-
understand, Fran?
Sure.
Do you see?
Do you see?
And speaking of do you see, follow with me here.
Uh-huh.
So the Jambashtian religion, which is made up of, they are called Jambelievers.
Yeah, all right. That's actually good. You've got me back now.
It sounds like Jamba Juice.
It sounds
They-
like a bunch of people who love New Orleans stew.
Do you guys have Jamba Juice up here, or is that a regional thing that I grew up with?
I don't think it's up
we have
here.
a
I think
Jamba-
we have Orange
We have
Julius
Orange
is up here.
Julius mostly.
Oh, okay. Jamba Juice was like a smoothie place.
We had Jamba
So-
juices. They do that thing where they get too big and then they have to cut off the dead branches. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I just imagine all of these people are Jamba Juice employees. That's what
I
I'm
like to.
imagining.
I just like to
Sounds
imagine
good.
they're like dark robed figures, but they do all happen to have a Jamba juice as well.
So the Jambelievers, they find the Jamba heart.
Okay, now I'm
See?
lost.
See?
I'm back. The Jamba. Okay. The Jamba.
The Jamba heart,
Uh-huh.
which was sealed away in ancient times by 4 legendary heroes.
Jamba 1,
Because
Jamba 2.
it is highly suggested to be galactonite, but we'll never know unless we do know
Oh,
later.
galactonite is a different.
What's galactonite?
It's what
Do I-
Meta Knight
Galactonite
bases
is a
his whole
different-
steez on.
Yeah, he's a different knight who Meta Knight was like, I want to fight you to become stronger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So kind of the same
Right.
deal.
Yeah.
At any rate, I need to get back to the Jamba believers and the Jamba heart.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
only thinking about that.
So the Jamba believers unleash the Jamba heart,
Yeah.
but it's got too much dark energy at the start, so it splits up and it shoots everywhere. And wouldn't you know it, a bunch of pieces shoot right onto Planet Popstar.
No.
Wild.
And anybody who touches the pieces of the Jamba heart get overtaken with evil.
Mm.
So you know that all of Kirby's friends are going to touch the Jamba heart
Yeah.
pieces.
Yeah.
But you
So
better
Kirby,
you better believe he still puts aside a little bit of time to go kick the shit out of a tree before he starts with that though.
you kick the shit out of a tree. You kick the shit out of King DDD, who got possessed because he touched the evil Jamba heart. You collect up all of the pieces of the Jamba heart, but then Highness is able to steal them away from you at the last moment, and he, it's wild. Like, there's no reason it needs to be this way, but they just like want you to remember that Kirby games are very dark. Because they are not able to collect like enough of the Jamba piece hearts to do their plan to fill Void with evil. Highness does sacrifice himself and the rest of his Jamba believers' souls into evilness in the heart.
Dark hearts,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
It just
To
reminds me of like
complete-
Sheik on Jewel Shards at this point.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
It's pretty much that's
To-
it.
Yeah.
He does this. The Jamba heart gets shot into Void, and Void does he incarnates Void Termina, which is like a god of evil destruction,
Yeah.
right? So who do you think is going to step up to fight this god?
Kirby.
It's our boy Kirbo.
Yeah.
Unaffected by the dark hearts
Because he didn't touch him.
anti-energy, by the way. He did. He was collecting them.
Oh.
Yeah, he was just
I
like,
mean-
get out of my friend.
Oh. He is.
He was exorcising his friends.
So Kirbo faces off against Void Termina, right?
Yep.
We fight him, and it's again like
One-winged angel plays, and that's all.
a
Like,
Marxist one-winged angel. You fought the tree earlier on, but now one-winged angel is playing. It's a nightmare. And as you might remember from the Dark Matter, when Dark Matter beings, you beat them in their first form, and then they usually show a core self within, right?
That are like spherical
Who
with
is-
an eyeball.
That are spherical with an eyeball.
Yeah.
But Void Termina's inner core is spherical, but it does not have just one eyeball. It have a Kirby face.
Kirby
It is a
face!
Kirby. It was a Kirby
Oh, it
the
was
whole
a
time.
Kirby face.
So Void Termina, he turns out to like his inner core is this thing
Boyo.
that looks just like Kirby, except like, dark purple, evilly,
So the
shadowy
Void is a
energy
Kirby.
stuff.
Boyo.
And-
Boyo.
In story wise, that's kind of where it ends, right? But most Kirby games have a separate boss rush mode.
Mhm.
Okay,
What's boss rush mode?
You just fight
where
bosses.
you fight all the bosses
Just all
in
the bosses.
order.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In this boss rush mode, you fight all the bosses in order, and then they add at the end, you fight Void itself, and you see
But Void did nothing wrong.
Well, he wants to fight this
He also
time because it's
didn't
boss
not
rush mode.
do anything.
He
right.
did not. He
Neutral.
didn't do anything right either.
Let's
Yeah,
ju-
he
let's
was
just-
very
it-
neutral.
It
Again,
made
it's-
no choices.
A force of nature.
He is just the progenitor of origination.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you fight Void itself, and Void is a big gray sphere that look just like Kirby.
Yes.
Look like
It is a Kirby.
Mm-hmm.
Is
And
Kirby a child of the void?
they don't specifically say it at any point, right?
But
But remember what I told you earlier about how because we have such small amounts of dialogue,
mm-hmm,
they always reiterate visual design in order
mm-hmm,
to get points across, right?
mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm.
And so this game has very strongly suggested
Mm-hmm.
that Kirby is an incarnation of God that is made of positive energy instead of negative
Yeah.
energy.
All right.
Ah!
So
I love that.
Kirby is in natural opposition to dark matter because dark matter is the incarnation of evil, but Kerbo, it being a little pink scamp, little pink puffball, is an incarnation of good. And
Yes.
he inherits all of the same powers as like dark matter. He can duplicate and he can absorb the energy of others. But Kirby just wants to sleep and eat cake and doesn't
Yeah.
want to destroy the entire universe.
The true good. The true good.
Exactly. And so the fights that Kirby has aren't like they're not like a fight between a warrior and a god. It's like actual forces of nature, literal good versus literal evil overcoming each other to gain dominion over the entire universe, but usually Planet Popstar. I guess I think Planet Popstar has just like a special place in the universe. It kind of is like the focal point of the battles between good and evil.
The weird thing, CJ, is that they canonically say that Planet Popstar is a backwater planet that doesn't matter very much.
Oh, I
They
don't know if
talk
that's
about
true.
they talk about that in what is it? The Planet Robobot game, where they say like it's very weird that all of these super powerful beings are coming from this backwater planet that nobody
Well-
gives a shit about.
Well, it's just like One Punch Man. It's that Kirby himself is a beacon to evil. Wherever Kirby is, becomes the center of the universe because that is where
mhm.
it all revolves around Kirby. Every part. Because if Kirby can defeat Void, like he is defeat because he absorbs Void, which
Mhm.
like okay, void is a force that just consumes and excretes. It's like it's like
That's what Kirby does.
yeah, it's a black body. It absorbs everything, but it also releases everything. But no, Kirby's a dead end in like he's like a black hole where it absorbs and then it's annihilated, gone. He can you know he can gain the power of the thing he absorbs, or he can just throw it away. It doesn't exist anymore. It's just gone.
Mm-hmm.
So is he a force of good? I think he is a force of he's a force of kindness, but is he a force of positive change for the universe? That I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, maybe Meta Knight can show him the way to goodness. He is very much that 2-year-old god being, right? Where he tried to do good and he seems generally positive, but he also has very little grasp on what is going on and
Yeah.
usually just like creates chaos. A lot of those games, like we had when we were talking about Kirby Superstar before, we said how, Kirby basically brought all of the things to Marks so that Marks could do like the bad thing without realizing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like so many of these games just involve like evil beings manipulating Kirby because he is just like
That
very
pure.
innocent and
Yeah,
easy
he's like,
to
I'll
trick.
help.
Because they can trick him.
Yeah.
They can trick him with cake. Like they're just like, look at this, and he's like, oh, sick ass.
I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
I'll unlock an evil deity in order to
Mhm.
get some motherfucking cake.
Especially if it's really fucking good cake, you know.
So
Kirby loved that cake.
So like Kirby is fighting. Kirby is at the level of the most powerful creatures in the universe. Like he fights like the incarnation of nightmares, and he can like defy the wishes of ancient relics that are trying to enact their will upon the world. And it's like, is he a part of this? Is he Is he like in opposition to it? What is he? There's no answer.
He's just trying
Because
to help.
Kirby just is. He's a little round friend. And we love him, but he is dangerous and should be feared.
Mario fight Big Turtle, Kirby fight God.
Kirby fights the progenitor of creation, the beginning
Origination.
of all things, the alpha and the omega, and what is left is Kirby.
Yeah, I do love the beginner of beginning.
The start of the beginnings of the prelude to the opener to the genesis of beginning time creation starts.
Yeah.
And then when he's done doing that, when he's done killing gods and consuming their form, again, he pretty much just eats a lot of these guys and they just become
He
part of
neutralizes
the
them.
whole. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He absorbs them and discards what he does not need. Then he has a slice of cake, goes back to bed.
Yeah.
Has a nap.
Has a nap. I'm tired. That was a big day Kirby had. Time for sleep.
So yeah, I mean that's the Kirby series. Like we could talk about a lot of individual games. He does travel to a lot of different dimensions,
Like
but
Earth.
like that one bugs the hell out of me because like so much of the series up until that point, like you could take it all as metaphor, but no, they did want to explicitly state Kirby exists in the same universe that we do. He can travel to Earth. He is out there in space somewhere right now battling god beings of darkness while we record a podcast.
No, you're thinking about this all wrong. Because in that world, that's like a post-apocalyptic world. There's no humans. In a world where the consciousness, we know from quantum mechanics that consciousness influences reality, right? And so the fact that humans existed and were thinking about things kept our world grounded in like a real physical realm. But then the humans wiped all of each other out. There was no humans left on the planet. And once that happened, once there was no consciousness to like observe the universe, then that brought our planet into Kirby's domain. I don't think Kirby just like teleported to our planet. I think our planet was brought to Kirby as a galactic offering by an uncaring reality that only cares if it's being observed. And once it's not observed, then it comes to Kirby so that Kirby may experience. Kirby can absorb it and it can become part of Kirby's realm. Because otherwise, we would have to live with the idea that like biblical angels in our own religions, our own real world religions, are probably like Kirby coming and being like, "Be not afraid," and he'd be like, "Poyo," and then the shepherds in the field would it's and then he would just be like eating a cake or whatever, and it would make, because we know Kirby like makes the eyes bleed by merely by his friendship stick. And so
love stick.
And he would, and so the humans who would see him would fear him. They would write stories about him. And I don't like the thought of that. I don't like all the religions we have being based around interactions with Kirby at one point or another. That's too scary. Regular religion, a little scary, but I can deal with it. Kirby religion, too scary. I don't want that to be our reality.
Kirby is my favorite cosmic horror series. Is Lovecraftian based dark gods out in the universe who care not for us little beings.
He really is. I mean, he's not mean, but to call him nice is just also.
But he might absorb you if he thinks that he could get a cool power out of it.
Yeah, or just if he wants to. He's a creature of whims. It's too scary. I don't want. I'm already like, if I saw a hippo, I would be really scared of that. And hippos can eat you, but like you can stay away from them. Kirby, if a Kirby was next to you, you couldn't get away from him. You couldn't fly, you couldn't swim. Kirby's can swim underwater. They get little goggles and snorkels. And I like it when a cartoon character gets a snorkel, even though they're underwater, and that's not how snorkels work. I just think it's really cute. But he'll get you under there too. He'll find you.
I mean, yeah, he can travel faster than the speed of light. He's going to get
He can
you.
travel faster than thought.
Mhm.
I love him. I wanna
Eat him.
yeah, he'd be like I think he'd be maybe like a bow bun, but like other Kirby bows there should
Ooh.
be.
I'm sure there's Kirby bows. There's probably like some
think
Kirby cafe. in Japan
Kerbow.
that you
I
can-
think I think I've seen like red
Kerbau.
bean paste patty
Yeah.
thing
That-
Kirby's.
That tracks. That sounds delicious. Well, I want to go eat bao now, so I guess we're gonna come to our final thoughts. Fran, is there anything about the Kirby series that lingers on your brain, that creeps its way in between the conscious and subconscious and becomes slowly a part of you?
I mean, it's just Kirby's all the way down, is what I've learned.
Do you
Kirby
think
is the basis of everything.
does Kirby make things when he consumes things? Does he
Yeah, he
like,
makes other Kirbys.
That's true, Fran. He makes other Kirbys.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, we've reached the end of yet another episode of our podcast. Thank you guys for listening. It's been a joyous time talking about Kirby and his delightful little life and all of the cosmic horrors that he brings. And we want to avoid thinking about cosmic horrors. So we'll keep making this content for you because that is the only thing keeping us from like Sakurai level insanity, is to vent all of this out into the ethereal realm where podcasts go when you release them, so that we don't have to think about these things anymore. And then they only come back to me in my most horrible nightmares. So thank you guys for letting us do that. If you want to follow us along, we have a bunch of other stuff we do. We do some Let's Plays, some streams over at twitch.tv/cookingwithspices. We have a YouTube channel with Let's Plays, and there will be more Let's Plays on it at some point. That's our YouTube channel, Cooking with Spices. You can find it at youtube.com/@spiceswith. You can find us on Twitter @spiceswith. Apparently, we didn't have our DMs turned on. So we fixed that. You can DM us now if you want to.
Classic us.
I don't know how DMs work. I thought you could just get them, but I guess you can't. But
Twitter won't be around that much longer
if you want
anyway.
to slide,
It's
if you want
fine.
to slide into our DMs, you get in there, you saucy little scams. Yeah, check us out on those platforms. Share with your friends. Make your loved ones listen to our podcast. And then if we get 1 million listeners, we will
Do another
we'll
My Little
start-
Pony episode.
Yeah, no, we'll start our own religion where we will worship the dark void, and yeah, maybe we'll do another My Little Pony episode.
Yeah, and maybe we'll worship some My Little Ponies as well.
Yay.
And we want to thank really quick Galestorm Kitsune for doing all of the artwork for our channel, and we want to thank Apajo for the banger intro and outro to the episode. Damn, nice job, me. Another round of plugs. In the bag. Fucking nailed it.
So good at this, CJ.
Awesome. Well, I think that's gonna do it. Hold on, I'm stalling because I usually end with a little like thing that I say at the end to end the episode, and I'm really trying to like think of what it's gonna be.
Right. Yeah.
so
No,
that-
that's our thing. You do that, and then if I can, I riff off of it.
Right.
And if I can't,
And if you-
we just
it's
kind
the
of like
episode's
fade
over.
out the music. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Fuck. Hold. Keep all this in. Let them know what it's like. Hold on.
Oh boy.
Kirby.
Maybe off the Jamba.
Kirby or not to be.
No.
Is that
Mm,
anything?
no.
I say go off the
that one's-
Jambonification religion.
Jambon-
Jambronis.
Something about Waddle Dee and Waddle Doo.
Waddle Dee's nuts. Okay. All right. All right. I've been CJ.
Ethan,
Fran.
And waddle D's nuts, dude. Oh,
And
another banger.